Hello, Shanti. Welcome. Good evening.
Om Shanti. Good evening.
Om Shanti. Good evening.
Om
Good
Shanti.
morning,
Om
sir.
Shanti. Good evening.
Om Shanti. Good evening.
Shanti.
Good morning.
Good morning, Naresh bhai.
Good morning.
Hope everyone is doing well. So today we have taken the topic, Don't Take Sorrow. So in the Sunday's message, the main message was that purity in actions means that we only give and take happiness. And if there is slightest of impurity, the sign of that is that we give and take sorrow. So the thought was that we often don't, of course, intentionally want to give sorrow to anyone, but sometimes we do take sorrow. And so the thought was to try and look at a bit deeper to understand and see how we take sorrow and then what we can do to not take sorrow, right? Acha. So if we were to define sorrow, what is sorrow? Anyone?
Feeling of hurt.
Feeling of hurt, right?
Yeah, some sort of pain.
Pain, right? Yeah. Other words could be, feeling of sadness, like I'm feeling sad, or feeling upset, or there is sometimes even, some grief, right? We say, or sometimes even at a advanced stage, it could even be like a depression, like always in a sad state of mind, right? And so we'll try to see what creates this sorrow. And the opposite of sorrow is happiness. In spirituality, we learn about a very important law, and that law governs our life. What is that law?
Law of karma.
Yes, law of karma, right? So, if there is an exchange of sorrow in any relationship, what does it mean? That there is some karmic account that is there, maybe from the past, or maybe I have created it. And if there's an exchange of happiness in any relationship, it means it's a positive account, right? And so they're deep. If we see spiritual threads underlying this, whole thing about happiness versus sorrow. So let's try and explore it a bit deeper today. It says, don't borrow sorrow from tomorrow. Don't borrow sorrow from tomorrow. So how do we borrow sorrow from tomorrow? What do we do to borrow sorrow tomorrow? Uh-huh. We worry, right? We worry about tomorrow. What will happen? How will it happen? And thinking about and planning, of course, is good. But when we start to worry too much, and then our energy level drains out, then there is, then we have somewhere borrowed sorrow. Right. So what should we borrow from tomorrow? Happiness.
Happiness.
Happiness. Right. From tomorrow and even yesterday, we should only borrow happiness. Acha. It says, pain happens, suffering is optional. The sorrow is kind of suffering, and pain is, right, when suppose I get, kind of hurt by a thorn or something, then of course there will be pain, but the suffering is optional. And what are the Hindi words for pain and suffering? Pain is, mm, yeah, mhm,
Dard.
dard, right? So dard, even in our relationships, we may feel pain at sometimes, which is fine. Pain happens, but suffering, यानी कहें तो दुख, अंदर ही अंदर. So that is optional. So that, depends on how I am inside, my frame of mind inside. And that's where, we have seen even dadis and all, even seniors, they go through a lot with their body. So there is a lot of pain, of course, but there is no suffering. So pain happens, but suffering is optional because they're actually beyond the body. Their practice of soul consciousness is very firm. So they don't suffer. So suffering comes when there is a karmic account. But when the karmic accounts have been settled or are getting settled, then there is no suffering. Right? So there will be pain, but no suffering. So let's try to just see the difference between pain and suffering. So this is something that we found. It says, so pain and suffering. So pain happens, right? So I have some feelings, some emotions that, come across my mind, right? So the examples are given here, right? Fear, sadness, guilt, shame, anxiety, frustration. But then suffering is when I, expound on it and when I allow it to go inside and it starts to affect the way I think, the way I feel, right? It starts to affect my attitude. And that's where, Baba was saying, right? Impurity versus purity. So when I've started to, make it my own and think this is what defines me, then that is impure, actually. And that's why purity in actions is when I don't, operate from that state of mind where all the heaviness is starting to go away and I start to feel light inside. So examples are I can't, what's wrong with me? Why do I always do this? Anger on the self, why me? Right? My emotions and all these feelings of isolation, all these are signs that somewhere the soul is suffering inside. Mhm. So that is sorrow. So pain happens, but sorrow is optional. Mhm. Suffering is optional. So another example of pain versus, say, suffering. So this is in terms of, our events that happen in life. Anyone would like to explain this image? Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So pain means, so someone said something is, this lady is maybe saying something to this person. So that is pain. Okay, he feels a little bit hurt. But then what is suffering? Suffering is that he's always
Thinking about that.
thinking about it over and over again. It's, that scene is playing in his mind over and over again. He starts to doubt himself or he starts to get angry. Right? So all of that is suffering. Right? All of that is suffering. So see, that's what Baba also says, like, whatever may happen, but don't let your happiness go away. which means don't operate from a state of suffering. Never suffer, even though there may be pain in the body, but or even in the mind, whatever, but never suffer. There's another nice kind of image to explain this. It says, pain on the left side is life without purpose. And when there is life without purpose, then there is suffering, right? And on the right side is life with a big why, which means I've understood my purpose. And then, even though there may be pain, but it is not suffering, it is growth. Of course, I will struggle, right? Because if I'm learning something, I'm struggling to understand. It's not always a very easy ride. Of course, I'm learning, I'm struggling, but it is allowing me to grow, right? Versus suffering, it doesn't allow me to grow. It, just plateaus my growth. And so, what's the difference between left and right? Purpose, right? So, when I realize my true purpose in life, the true purpose is to just be myself. True purpose is to get closer to the divine, right? That's the true purpose, to serve humanity, all the souls. When I align myself with that purpose, then there is, even if there will be pain, but there is no suffering, but there is growth. So let's watch a little story and then we'll move forward.
Once upon a time, a sad devotee was complaining to God, "You don't take care of me. I'm such a big devotee of you. I serve you day and night. Still, why do I have to suffer the most in my life? There are so many problems. Till I finish dealing with one, another trouble is ready. You listen to others. You give happiness to everyone, but I got only sorrow." Just then he heard voice of God in his conscience. "No, my son, everyone has their own sorrows and troubles. Each one gets to live life according to his karma. This is just your misunderstanding." But no devotee was ready to listen. Finally, understanding his ignorant devotee, God, tired of explaining to him, figured out a solution. God said, "Okay, let me give you one more chance to change your luck." God directed devotee towards a tree and said, "Look at this big old tree. Everyone has tied their sorrows, pains, troubles, poverty, disease, worries, etc. in a bundle and hang them on this tree. Whatever may be your sorrow, go and make a bundle of all your troubles and hang it on the tree like all others. This will solve your problems." Devotee jumped with joy and he was about to go to that tree. "But I have small condition." Devotee asked, "What condition?" God replied, "When you have made a bundle of all your sorrows, troubles and hang it on it, then you will have to bring any bundle already hanging on the tree for you." Devotee felt this a bit strange but thought it will be okay. Then he made a bundle of all his problems and sorrows and hung it on the tree. After hanging it, he thought, "One thing done. Now I will have no worries in life." But God said to take a bundle from the tree before returning. Then he looked around tree thinking, "Okay, which one should I take? Little one will be fine." Second moment he thought, "But I don't know what's in it. I should take another one. But what if there is any serious disease in it? No, no. Well, I will take this one. But I don't know whose it is, what kind of sadness it has. Devotee got confused and upset. As long as it is not known what sorrows, troubles, worries, and troubles are there in other bags, till then it seems fine. But if there is more sorrows in them than theirs own, what will one do? Devotee called to God, "Where are you?" God said, "Why, what happened? Pick it up as you like." Devotee fell on knees with folded hands and said, "No, God, I was made who considered myself the most unhappy. There are countless like me here and don't even know what is in their sorrow and concern. I know at least my own problems and sorrows. I will fight with courage. I will face them and not run away from them. Thank you, God, for showing me the truth. When you are with me, I can face any problems in my life." God then smiled and said, "This exchange offer is open to all forever. So, my friends, everyone is suffering, but we see only our own. That's why we are worried. In reality, many people are more upset than you and me."
Mhm. Story that it just shows how much we sometimes are just focused on our own problems and we feel, sadness and sorrow inside. But we have an exchange offer. What is the exchange offer? What did God say? What is the exchange offer we have?
Only
Give,
exchange.
give our version.
Yeah. Right. So we can easily just exchange it. We give it to God. Right. We give it to God. And that's where our relationship with God also strengthens. Whenever there is a challenge or anything that, is something which feels difficult, at that time when we really give it to God and, just surrender, at that time, God also, because we have taken the first step, then God also comes and helps, right? 1,000-fold. And so then sorrows actually become gifts for us, or, so that we strengthen our relationship with the divine. Sure. So in this journey, of spiritual uh, experiences, it says, of course, there is pain, because we are learning something new, and then there are always, situations and instances where we feel pain. But it says healing begins when I accept the pain. Karma is created when I express the sorrow or any other negative emotion that accompanies the pain. Right? So either I'm getting healed or I'm increasing my karma. So when I accept the pain, then I'm actually starting to get healed. So that's where the relationship with the divine comes. But if I feel sorrow inside and that's what I exchange, then that's what creates karma. And so that's where Papa was saying, like when we, give and take only happiness, it is then that also symbolizes that we are moving towards our purity. Right? The spirituality is really then the journey of acceptance. I keep accepting. And then it is when I keep accepting, then it becomes From sorrow, it becomes happiness. Right. There is, in psychology, there is uh, there is this research on, our thought patterns and how they lead to the experience of happiness or sorrow. So this research is like this. So it says what happens is your mind judges every experience. So life is happening. So experiences of life are happening. And so what we are doing constantly is we're constantly judging. How we are judging? In three categories: good, bad, neutral. And this is happening in the subconscious. Anything happens, I'll say, okay, this is good. Something negative, also this is bad. And some things, many things we start to ignore, right? And so this happens at a very subconscious level. And so whatever is good, so we want to cling to it. We want to have more of it, right? Whatever I feel good about. And it's all judgment that is happening at a very, incognito level. Whatever is bad, I try to reject or flee from that experience. And whatever is neutral, I ignore it. And so all of this is happening inside. And this judgment is somewhere not allowing me to accept everything, everyone as they are. And that's what is somewhere creating an energy of resistance that then eventually creates sorrow, right? Mhm. And so it says non-judgment. Right? That's what Baba also teaches us, like, the principle of just being detached observer, which is non-judgment or sakshi. Non-judgment means you don't need to do something about every life experience. That's what we try to, inside we feel I have to do something. But it says that whatever life experience may be, I'm just simply present to it. Simply be present to it. Mhm. Right? So whatever life brings experiences, I'm just present to it. And so then I'm just, neutral. I'm in the state of soul consciousness. I'm just observing. I'm not internally commenting about things or people or situations. Mhm. And this then allows me to be happy all the time. Right? Mhm. Because then every scene is taken as entertainment. Right? Mhm. 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 Acha. So we'll watch another little video which describes how easily we judge and how easily we create labels, and not only ourselves, but we have put others into labels as well. Mhm. Way to understand how we, subconsciously create labels and we box everyone. And that's where somewhere all these differences that we are creating ultimately result in this give and exchange of sorrow. Mhm. The moment I have put someone in a box, this person is like this person is like that. And we actually do it pretty much all the time. Mhm. And that consciousness, when we constantly are putting everyone in boxes, that consciousness is called body consciousness. or we call it role consciousness. In the soul consciousness, then it's said, now it's all of us, together. And that's what sometimes, Baba would say is the vision of brotherhood. Purity in vision means to see everyone as souls, souls who are children of the one, divine. And all of us carry the same genes as God. So we're all God's children. And so we just see everyone from that vision. And the moment we see, just like in that video, suddenly everyone started to smile and be happy. Right? And so this consciousness allows us to then, experience happiness in a very natural way. Right? And then life no longer becomes suffering, but then it becomes a very beautiful experience. Right? And the opposite of sorrow is happiness, right? I think we have looked at this image before, but it's good to look at it again. So someone came to a monk and said, I want happiness. And then he said, okay. He said, first remove I, that's ego. Then remove want, that's desire. Now all you're left with is happiness. And so if I experience any kind of sorrow, it's because of the two words. They are I and mine, right? Or here it says I and then want, because then I want something, right? And then you'll say ichha, right? Ichha. So, there is really the recipe to be constantly happy and share happiness. It's just to internally, work on the self. To just, and that's what purity really is, when I'm not associating, identifying myself with the limited I, and I'm always making the effort to come out of this box and see everyone as pure and innocent souls, beings of light. And that allows for us to then experience happiness naturally. And so if we look at happiness and what allows us to be happy all the time, there's a nice quote. It says, our happiness depends on wisdom all the way. Right. So if I'm internally wise, means internally I'm able to see the truth, relate to the truth, live in the truth, then I'm wise, then I'm happy. Right? So it's, of course, there is happiness, but then what lies at the foundation of happiness is wisdom. And when this wisdom goes away, then happiness becomes sorrow. Right? And so this wisdom is again, who am I? Why am I here? Who do I belong to? This is this wisdom, this innate wisdom that allows us to live according to our purpose. Because then there is no suffering, there is no sorrow, there is only this constant happiness. Right. Sure. So maybe we will. Um, uh, there was a nice little recipe for happiness that we found from somewhere. I thought it'll be nice to end on this one. It says, recipe for happiness. So, what is a recipe? Ingredients: 2 heaping cups of patience, 1 heart full of love, 2 hands full of generosity, 1 head full of understanding, a dash of laughter. Directions: sprinkle generosity with kindness, add plenty of faith, and mix well. Spread over a period of a lifetime and serve everyone you meet. Yeah. So, this is the recipe to be happy. And so, maybe one day we will make a cake called a happiness cake. And so then we will also write down all the ingredients, right? Right. So we need patience, we need love, we need generosity, understanding, and then we have laughter. Right. So we only give and receive happiness. Acha. Om Shanti. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Papa. Let's take a moment and go within. And realize that I connect with my higher purpose of life. I realize my truth of who I am and why I am here. And I shift my consciousness from limited to the unlimited. I move beyond boxes, beyond labeling, so that I accept everyone and every situation the way they are. And this inner wisdom allows me to always be happy. I stay happy and share this happiness around me. Om Shanti. Thank you. Cha. So, I'd like to open up, and if anyone would like to share any thoughts, please feel free. Be online if anyone would like to go first. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Saurabh bhai. Thank you again. Very beautiful class. And I really like that pain, the difference between pain and suffering, on how, we can kind of build our own reality. And Saurabh bhai, I had a question on, the judgment. Like there's a video also about that. So sometimes, when we have to like take a call that this is my friends group, for example, that I want to stay connected with, because this is going to help me in my spiritual journey, and these are the friends that I'm going to distance, or some family or whatever the people that we know. So wouldn't that also be some sort of judgment? But then that judgment is, we need to judge there, right, to make sure that we are moving in our spiritual journey.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, sometimes it's like, the company that we have. But I think you're right. It's all about, the kind of feelings that we have for everyone. Like Papa was saying, like purity in attitude means just to have good feelings and, good wishes for everyone. And so, of course, like on an external level, we may need to, in order to protect our, spiritual experiences, set some boundaries or principles, but then
Right.
internally, right, internally also to have good wishes for every soul. That, yeah.
Right. Ji. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Saurabh.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you.
Welcome back. Yeah.
Ji. Thank you, Saurabh. And see you on Saturday.
Sure. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Any other thoughts?
Om Shanti Saurabh.
Om Shanti, Sanchit Bhai.
Again, beautiful Thursday session. I think I like the point where we have to accept that we are in pain. That's where the healing begins. I really like that point. And karma, if we express the sorrow and share that negative emotion that accompanies the pain, then the karma would increase. So these 2 points I kind of liked it, and also the last how our happiness depends on uh, or the recipe of happiness. That's the second key takeaway. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you. Shanti.
Thank you, Sanchit Bhai. Sure. Anyone else would like to share? Sure. We have a few angels here.
Does. I think my key takeaways are like the video about the labeling, which we do all the time to work on that. I really like the last slide, which was recipe for happiness. And I think the most important takeaway for me is going to be not to judge every experience that, like every feeling that comes in, every experience that flows through. And that's like a big one, even on psychology. Like they always say, just be present to what you're feeling, even in your mind or in your body. But don't try to analyze and figure out and try to fix it, because in that moment, you just have to be present. So that's one of a big takeaway for me. So thank you so much. It was a great class. Shanti.
Shanti. For me is the message was the life pain is its growth. And when you know your life purposes, you would recognize you are through the pain you're growing. And when you don't have a true purpose, then you are creating that suffering even with the pain. I think that was a pretty deep, thought-provoking message. Was a takeaway. And I think it was also from a judgmental standpoint, the psychology, good, those three categories, neutral, good. It's true that we do that, but the other soul on the call was saying, like, sometimes want to protect ourselves that are good and not so good around the world, but recognizing it, but giving them good blessings. Like you said, it was a good one. Those are the two takeaways for me.
Thank you. Thank you. Sure. Shanti, any other thoughts anyone would like to add?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Have a nice day, everyone. Rest of the day.
Thank you.
Shanti. Thank you,
Shanti.
Saurabh.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Santi.
Thank you, Shanti.